Okay, the last thing we'll work on in this unit is the modals with progressive verb forms. For example, we can use progressive verb forms with modals to express degrees of certainty. This form is more common in speaking than writing. And for present forms, it's modal or modal plus not, and then be, the base form, and then the ing form of the main verb. For example, the medical treatment must be working. She's getting better. Means I think, I'm sure the medical treatment is working. Or this is an old address. He may not be living there anymore. Means maybe he is not living there anymore. It might be confusing at first, but you'll get it eventually. The company is going bankrupt. Thousands of employees could be losing their jobs soon. Means maybe they will be losing their jobs soon. And then the past form is the modal or not, and then have been, and then the ing form of the main verb. So she didn't hear the phone ring. She might have been sleeping. Means maybe she was sleeping. The government shut that company down. It must have been operating illegally. Means I'm sure it was operating illegally if the government shut the company down. And remember, don't use progressive with non-action verbs like believe, own, know. So he must know that already. You would never say he must be knowing that. Section B. We can also use the progressive form with should or ought to when we're giving advice or making recommendations in the present. For example, you should be spending more time on your work. Means I think you should be doing this. My advice is that you be spending more time on your work. You could use ought to be also to mean the same thing. I don't know why they're upset. They ought to be celebrating. Or I can say they should be celebrating. Means I think it'd be a good idea for them to celebrate, not be upset. They just got married. We also use the progressive form with should and ought to for making past counterfactual statements. Remember, this means talking about something that did not happen in the past, so that when I go from this meaning, should be spending more time, ought to be celebrating, and go to the past form, this is a different meaning. So I say you should have been listening while the teacher was talking. That means you were not listening. You made a mistake. And now you missed something probably. You can also say ought to have been listening, but that's more British.